All right, good morning, everyone. How we doing? Hope you're doing well. I know it's a little different in the terms of the time slot, so I'm not expecting many of you guys to watch this. That's all right. So the long and short of this is that I have... Why is chat not... Oh, chat would show up if people would speak up in chat, but that's okay. So long story short, we did a video yesterday. We reacted to a bunch of different videos and it went well. It was a long stream. It was a long stream, 7-hour stream or so. That was fine. I now understand why React streamers do what they do, because it seems like the easiest content known to man. I don't plan on doing it all the time, but this was a video by Liquid Zulu called In Defense of AI Art. Now, the long story short, or the TLDR on my position on AI art is that, yes, it's an art form. Yes, it's something that people can do to make art, but I struggle to call someone an artist that gets a machine to do all the work for them. That's kind of where I sit. I would not call you an artist. I would call you a commissioner. I would say that you're commissioning a machine to make that art piece. But undeniably, I think it's pretty undeniable that, like, AI art is a form of art. But we've got, in this video, a good amount of time left. So, why are there two of me? Oh, that's why. Okay, there we go. Well, we're just gonna get through this video, and we're gonna just finish it up. I'll give my 2 to 3 to 4 to 5 cents as we go. That's about it. Let's get into it.
That center around shifting the artistry to the AI in order to attempt to negate that it is art. This, of course, could only ever apply to text to image. One can exert massive amounts of control using image to image. Moreover, that you aren't the one actually physically getting in there with a paintbrush does not make you not the artist.
So, okay, this is a current thing that where we are in the video. This guy has basically tried to take down every argument that's been put forward by a lot of big art YouTubers. And there's a couple qualms I have with it. I'm not fully on his side, but I feel like he's done a very good job of taking down the most obvious arguments that are brought up regarding AI arts. Some of them being like it's not real arts, some of them being that it's lazy or that it takes no work, which I feel a little weird about that one. But we had my friend Arrow on yesterday, and he was basically just trying to steelman this video and getting my thoughts on it, because he shares a lot of the thoughts in this video. This guy's incredibly smug, but I think he's done a pretty good job. I actually do recommend that you guys go watch this video. It is 2 hours and 31 minutes though, so you know, get some popcorn.
The artist is the one who's directing the art and is deciding the composition of the new fictional reality. At what degree of computer aid does one stop being the artist? Surely the superior understanding is that one is an artist if it is their creative vision. After all, movie directors certainly count as artists. If I asked Cole who made The Shining, I doubt he would start listing off every cameraman on set. He would of course say that Stanley Kubrick made The Shining. Kubrick is...
I do not hold this opinion. I think that while the director has an artistic vision, it's a collaborative effort to make a film. I would say it's an art form as well, but like it's a collaborative effort, which means everyone deserves to be, you know, put on that list. That's why they have credits that are so long. How's it going, Minos Prime? Welcome in. Here's Johnny.
the one who had the creative vision. He's the one who decided how it would look and what would be included. He is the artist. That he wasn't doing all of the performances and the filming and the catering and whatever else goes into making a movie does not negate that it was his movie. In reality, it is plain for any with eyes.
It is his movie, but it is also a collaborative effort. I don't think a director is able to make movies just on their own unless you can. Yeah, absolutely. But The Shining had well over 100 people working on it. There's a reason why the credits are so large. So it would be a little disingenuous to say that he is the only artist. He's the only person that made that movie.
Eyes to see that my above elucidation of an objective aesthetics for the artist to be using is perhaps overly charitable. Art has been one of the primary battlegrounds of all of the worst subjectivism imaginable. I derive a certain joy,
I agree.
or perhaps a schadenfreude, in seeing the everything is relative, truth is subjective crowd who have dominated the art industry for decades instantly turn on a dime into asserting that AI image generations violate the principles of true art and that it is objectively immoral for art.
Oh my gosh. Do you guys know about this, Banksy? Oh my gosh, Banksy is such a freaking troll. If you don't know about him, he will specifically troll the art world. He makes stuff that while people think that are very valuable because, you know, he's a legendary artist that no one knows the identity of, that sold for millions and millions of dollars and then got shredded. It was designed to. It was awesome.
Artists to lose their jobs to an AI. The art world post-Duchamp has almost entirely adopted the bromide that anything is art if the artist says so. And now that people are attempting to make actually good art as against anti-conceptual garbage, they're desperately scrambling to rescue objectivity from the well in which they drowned it. For the artists out there, you really need to wrestle with this question. You can't have it both ways. Either you maintain your nonsense relativism, in which case you're incapable of mounting a sound moral argument for or against anything, as any such argument may be refuted by, that might be moral for you, but it's not moral for me. Or you drop the relativism and adopt a realist philosophy, in which case you can promptly ground your moral and aesthetic claims. Stop the nonsense of deconstructing concepts right up until the point where you deem the concept to be strategically advantageous to maintain. You are stealing the concepts that you wish to elevate to objectivity above the graveyard of destruction in your wake from those whose philosophy is actually grounded in reality.
I'm gonna turn down the music right here. I feel like this is a little too loud. There we go.
Of the great fountainheads of the anti-AI art movement, from which basically all other arguments are borrowed secondhand, is Steven Zapata, which is ironic for a movement which bases its arguments in a hatred of AI on the grounds that it is secondhand.
Long story short, for those that didn't watch the other stream where we went over this, Steven Zapata here refuses to engage with AI art as a medium, doesn't know how it works, makes a bunch of false claims about how it works and how AI art is made, and then basically just digs his heels in and says, no, I'm right. As opposed to basically what happened to me, which was I was more on his side regarding like, oh, AI art doesn't learn like a human does. AI art isn't art. AI art is lazy and disgusting. And there's a bunch of these things that he says that he will just dig his heels on instead of engaging with the actual thing and seeing that it's not the monster he makes it out to be.
Zapata tells us that art can be anything, that it is very structureless, that there is no real objectivity in art. He also
well, let me mute
the word
Discord
truth in air quotes. If this is the accepted opinion within art circles, it should be no surprise that anti-conceptual nonsense is the norm, nor should it be a surprise that people are turning to AI to produce actually good art. Zapata is at least honest enough to not get involved in the "it's not real art" argument. Perhaps if the hordes of his intellectual descendants would realize why that is the case, we could finally be without this nonsense stance. My hopes for this occurring are not high. The second-hander is fully capable of borrowing bundled ideas from wherever he chooses, without ever analysing whether there exists any gross inconsistency between his bundles. Remember this, when these people come along and claim that AI art is not real art, all you must do is ask them the simple question, what is art? The anti-AI crowd take particular glee in mocking the popular notion of AI image generation being a democratization of art. Putting aside any issues I have with that particular terminology, the argument is that art was already accessible to everyone.
What is this? Did someone make a PNG tuber of a Thundercat? What the fuck is this? That's awesome. I love that. That's freaking fantastic. What's up, Quinn? What's up, Hunty?
Ew. Democracy.
Democracy. I know, right? What'd they do to Leo? No, it can't be Leo. He has brown hair. Leo has red hair. Or does he only have the red hair when he goes thunder, thunder, thunder? I don't know. By the way, I'm just gonna grab this so I can send someone a link to this. Okay, let's get back into it.
Because all you have to do is pick up a pencil and start drawing. Leo Convoy says to people who wish to speed up their creation by using AI to draw backgrounds that they should just, quote, learn to draw backgrounds.
Hashtag not my
learn to draw or
Thundercats.
commission an artist. Well, at least he's giving us some options. Pay up or...
Hey, at least I agree with this for the most part. But the thing is that you technically, in my personal view, you are commissioning an artist when you're using AI art. You are commissioning the machine to make something for you. His name is Leo Convoy. I've never heard of him. I don't think I want to look at his content. But I appreciate that he wants to be a Thundercat. What's that song from the Aristocats? Everybody wants to be a cat. You know, because a cat's the only cat that knows where it's at. Some good shit.
use inferior techniques. Heads I win, tails you lose. To artists
Oh,
who make claims
he's
such
been
as
accused
these,
of doxing
just for your own
minors.
strategic
Lovely.
sake, consider how easy it is to turn this line of reasoning right back at you. Oh, we should just learn how to draw? How about you just learn to get another job after art is automated? How about you just learn
Evening
to code
stream,
your
it's
own
morning
AI?
for
How about
me,
you just learn
Anthony.
to make passive income to support your art hobby? Of course, there stands an obvious counterexample to their blanket assertions that AI prompters should just pick up a pencil and learn to draw. Namely,
No, I think actually it would do, I think it would do a lot of good for AI prompters to learn the fundamentals of art, so then they can start understanding, like, getting to a middle ground regarding the separation between AI art and artists. I think that would be a good thing. I think having, like, let's say an art lesson and teaching someone who only does AI art, how to draw would do a lot of good. Not only because it would maybe give them appreciation for the skill for what it takes to be an artist, because it does take some skill. You're developing a skill over time. But also I think it would help in their prompting as well. Because if you don't know what you're looking for when you're trying to make the perfect AI art piece, how would you know? I feel like it would do some good for both sides.
those people who are not capable of picking up a pencil. Take Stephen Hawking, who was, by the end of his life, completely paralyzed. Pick up a pencil, Gramps,
Yeah.
is not going to magically inspire him to be able to
He would pick up a pencil. I know he would.
move his limbs again. With AI image generation, this guy can make art, and he's in a fucking iron lung.
Who the fuck is that?
Can anyone honestly say
His face makes me think of, like, everybody wants to watch the world burn, Mr. Wayne.
that if a person in this state was pining to make art, they would simply tell him to just pick up a pencil, bro? You might say that he can simply commission an artist if he wants to make personal art. To which I would ask, how much do you think it costs him to maintain that big fuck-off machine that is currently breathing for him? Are you going to advocate that he chooses between either being deprived
That's
of the
me,
joy
guys.
that is appreciating art, or knowing that he will be able to breathe tomorrow? The difficulty in producing art is simply what separates the wheat from the chaff. The boys from the
I
men,
hope I'm not
us
able to
from
breathe
you.
tomorrow.
We are told by the great art mystics, Polio Paul and Spinal Injury Stephen are simply undeserving of the sacred craft
Polio
of art
Paul.
making. They must quell their egotistical desires to wrestle this profession from its proper place. Art has a profound impact on the mental well-being of those who partake in it. I don't think we should be requiring that those who are incapable of making art unaided sacrifice this incredible benefit in order to please the existing artistic establishment. This may sound like an overly ambitious caricature that I am painting of the anti-AI crowd. Surely nobody would actually be so vicious. Oh, if only that were true. Duchess Celestia makes it perfect.
You see, when you make a claim like that, it's pretty easy to find someone that's super fucking negative on the internet. It's really easy. It's finding people that are really positive that are really hard. Dude, all you gotta do is just freaking go on Twitter. And he actually has even better. He's got a YouTuber he can just specifically point at. I didn't know the iron lungs were still able to be built. I mean, sure. Nah, I personally don't agree with this Liquid Zulu guy because I have a female friend who's used AI deepfakes to edit their pic into a revenge porno. Yeah, F this guy in his opinion. Well, there are bad ways and good ways to use AI. I don't think he is making that argument whatsoever, Anthony. And now, if he does have a comment about how that's a good thing, then fuck this guy. But I have not, so far, heard him make that argument. I do think that his opinion on IP law is really stupid, but so far he's had a pretty good defense of AI art as an art medium. And that's basically what his goal here is. He's defending it as an defending AI art as an art medium.
Perfectly clear that those without the means to make art should just suck it the fuck
Also,
up.
that's really
Telling us
fucked up,
that
Anthony.
If you can't animate a project or hire an animator, you shouldn't be able to make an animated project. If you can't create a book cover or hire an artist to do it for you, your book shouldn't have a cover. It's the basis of economy. And again, what preventing people like Norman No Arms from making...
What's stopping you from making it yourself? That's what AI art is able to do. You're then able to make it yourself. But it's the moralism that this guy's pointing at, that the moral outrage doesn't make sense to him. I'm not quite with him on that, but we'll get there.
Making art looks like is using actual violence against him and his collaborators for the reason that they did it in the wrong way. That she, to adopt her terminology, feels entitled to speak on economics whilst having a negative understanding of the field offends me. I work for the Foundation of Economic Education, and her flooding the market with ineptitudes like this poisons the field and puts the profession at risk. I shouldn't face any competition in the field of economics education, just as the artists shouldn't have to face competition in their...
I used to really like this channel, by the way. This channel right here, Out of Frame, oh, had some good stuff on it.
industry. Surely the correct response here is for me to advocate that violent force be used against anyone who would dare compete with me, even when I claim that competition to be shoddy. This is what I learned from the artists. Destroying competition is the only moral way to do these things. You can imagine a particularly heinous Paralympics.
No. See, okay, when you're faced with a bad faith argument, it's really easy to be bad faith back. I don't think that this is a charitable argument. I don't think that this is what people are actually saying. He's making a lot of assumptions here.
And similar things to these artists. Running is already democratized. Stop adding all of this new technological mumbo-jumbo to it. All you have to
Correction,
do is
Quinn, Out of Frame used to be very good. The guy that replaced the main guy is not nearly as
This
good.
one is using wheels for Christ's sake. It's like they never bothered to watch any running tutorials on YouTube and just want a shortcut to success.
Okay, so, alright, he's making an argument that that artists should never make the pick up a pencil and draw claim. They should never say that because there are people with disabilities who can't pick up a pencil. So he's now making a moral argument as to why AI art should exist for those who cannot make art, that are physically incapable. The thing is that doesn't stop anyone. Doesn't stop anyone. There's a person that is blind and has no arms, and he still paints scenery with his fucking feet. Okay? Okay? It is just a skill issue. You can still make art without your limbs. Okay? You can still do that. Anyone can do it. There are plenty of ways to do it. Actually, Stephen Hawking, there's a video, it was a long time ago. Stephen Hawking put MS Paint as a program onto his little computer, and he did make some drawings. And that dude couldn't move at all. It's just by using his eyes. That's it. If he can do it, so can other people. This is a bad faith argument, I think. It's focusing on the fringes and saying that this is representative of the whole.
My friend Necro has cerebral palsy, which can cause his hands to cramp up very easily. He tells me that he has used AI art, and it makes it a lot easier for him to quickly
See, okay, now he's bringing up a personal example.
conceptualize things, you know, without willing his muscles to do what they simply can't. Necro is an artist, it's just that sometimes he's not physically capable of creating art. His mind is fully intact and capable of imagining brilliant works. It's just that there is a gap between what his mind can imagine and what his body is able to do. Now with AI image generation, that gap has closed
Breaking
massively.
Bad.
You can be completely paralyzed, head to toe, and be able to dictate prompts to an AI image generator. Anyone is capable of making art now. AI has indeed democratized the creation of art.
I agree. It has democratized the creation of art. Anyone can go on and do whatever they want and generate generally whatever they want, however they want. Does that make it good? No, I actually think it makes it neutral. AI image generators have to go through complete reforms, no NSFW image generation, period. Well, if you get rid of NSFW image generation, then it's going to completely get rid of most of the point of the thing. Honestly, I think a lot of people, they specifically try to use it for that.
Furthermore, we needn't even go into the extremes of cerebral palsy or total body paralysis to think of people who can benefit from this technology. I have a
Also, why does Skylar White look like a female version of Woody Harrelson? Because she's ugly, and I don't like her. I know nothing about the actress at all, By the way, this is what Liquid Zulu looks like. I don't know anything about the actress whatsoever, but her portrayal of Skylar made me quit the series. I did not finish Breaking Bad, and I'm not going to go back to it. Mainly because I fucking hated Skylar as a character. Like, truly made my blood boil to watch her on screen. That's a good fucking actress right there, if that's the case. She is quite great at acting, yes. Because I don't want to see her ever again. I fucking hate that woman because of her acting. I hate that character more specifically. Same with Janice from Sopranos. I liked Janice more. Janice had a lot more of an arc going on. Skylar was just a bitch to begin with. There's also an issue of people feeling like they are incapable because of some deep-seated mentality or not good support system. You see, that's what I'm hoping to change eventually. I want to be the bridge so that people can possibly pick up a pencil again. Or do it digitally. Or try to express themselves through art in some way or another. I would love to be able to enable people to do that. I agree wholeheartedly, Hunty.
A tremor in my hand that makes it essentially impossible for me to properly use a paintbrush or pencil or whatever other
skill issue. I have the same problem. Okay? Quit whining. That's what I do. And I fucking draw.
Implement in order to make art. It is basically impossible for me to utilize the correct level of pressure. Now, my
So
tremor
what?
is certainly nothing crazy. There are people who have far worse impairments than me, but even something as mild as this can be overcome with the advent of AI art. There is an even
It can also be overcome with the skill and training. You know, you just fucking do it. You know, I know surgeons that have fucking cerebral palsy, and they still do their job, and they're really good at it. Okay? It is just something you have to work towards, work through. You can do it. I don't have a problem with using AI art, by the way. I don't have a problem with it. But this is just a stupid excuse. F Janice, she was the worst. Worse than Skylar. At least Skylar cared about her kids, not like Janice. I don't know. I'd argue that Skylar really doesn't really give a fuck about anyone except for herself.
even more fundamental point to be addressed here, which is seemingly
There are people that are just not good at art, which is why Michelangelo and other artists are so well known. Majority of people are not good at art. I'm not good at art, especially when you compare me to Michelangelo.
completely outside the anti-AI artist's scope of awareness, namely, the cost involved in choosing to do art. Basically, spending my time learning how to draw deprives me of the attainment of those goals that I could have pursued within the time that was spent learning to draw. This is called opportunity cost by economists. Every single choice you make involves such a cost, the cost of everything that you forego in favor of whatever you choose. Now, AI image generation is able to drastically lower the opportunity cost of making art. So if you're in a situation where you simply cannot spare the time to do art, you're now far more likely to be able to do so. In response to Shadiversity's love of AI, Fenna tells him to just learn the fucking skill. Elaborating with respect to Shad's use of AI as a coloring tool, you could have learned to draw all those things yourself. What Fenna ignores here is opportunity.
It doesn't take that much time. It really doesn't take that much time. Like, truly. It takes time to train, but to learn the concept and to start applying it, watch one 5-minute YouTube video and then draw. Try to apply it. That's it. If you cannot be asked to actually do that, I don't know. My sympathy goes way down the toilet. But this does not discredit the idea of saying, I want to save time, so I'm going to generate a bunch of things. And then say, I'm an artist. I personally would not say that you are. But you can do that. You can skip that. What are you achieving at that point? I mean, for me, the difference is I'm in it for the love of the game. Now, we already discussed this with Arrow earlier in the last stream about the love of the game argument. And I think it's kind of shaky. It's not an attack on AI art. It's just most people don't want to go through the tedium of learning a skill. And then AI art skips the skill. Also, I love when you do solo streams. I mean, I usually do solo streams. You should show up more often, Anthony.
Cost. He addresses only the seen, that Shad could have learned to become a great artist, while ignoring the unseen, that Shad would have to give something up in order to achieve this. The question is, then, what exactly?
You don't have to give anything up. Unless you're counting time, which you're spending enough time trying to generate something on AI art. I think it would do you a lot of good to learn the fundamentals, if anything, to help you with your AI art creation.
Exactly are we advocating that Shad gives up to learn this skill? Should he spend less time with the family? Should he spend less time perfecting his YouTube channel? Should he spend less time learning about medieval history? He has only limited time in the day, and at some point in the future,
He's already taken that time to half draw something and then plug it into an AI art program, and he claims that he spends hours, sometimes days, prompting to make it look right using his half-drawn thing as the base. It could arguably take less time for him to make a finished piece. Maybe not a finished piece that he would be satisfied with. That takes time. I'm not even satisfied with my work. But I think that that's just the drive. That's what I mean by like in the love, like in it for the love of the game. Like it's just, I'm not satisfied with what I make. Therefore, I'm going to make more. I don't stop.
Forever. Is it really Fenna's place to claim that Shad has been misplacing his time? Surely this decision is Shad's to make. We do not know his situation, and we should not engage in such wild speculation over it. Imagine for me that
I miss when Shad was not like a weird provocateur. I used to really love his content.
you are a concept artist working on Star Wars Episode 14, and you have just perfected the new design for the Super Ultra Omega Stormtrooper. You show your design to robot George Lucas, and he wants to see this new Stormtrooper in every new environment that is being designed for the new movie. Tell me, which sounds like the more enjoyable workflow? To tediously redraw the Stormtrooper in dozens or hundreds of different environments, or to give an AI your reference sheet, all of the environment drawings, and tell it to do the rest? It seems to me that the clear choice is the second one. By leveraging the power of AI,
Okay, you're making the time argument again, but time doesn't equal good. But also, when it comes to AI, the whole reason why we have created these AI programs in the first place is because we want to shortcut time. Arrow likes to make the calculator argument, though I find it's very hard to view a calculator as the same as AI art generator. I can see the consistency argument there about how it's still just trying, ultimately, to save you time.
tedium of iterating upon an idea over and over and over and over and over again can be completely eliminated. Maybe after you bring Robot George Lucas the hundreds of in-context images he wanted, he then asks you to give all of them jetpacks, which was not part of the original design. If you use AI, no.
Oh my gosh, this is what it's like trying to do freelance work on fucking Fiverr. Or actually, I've got a good example. There's a guy that wanted me to make a League of Legends OC, okay? He had his own personal League of Legends OC, okay? Now, I have no hate for this guy. He's awesome. He's a cool guy. I love talking to him. He's a friend of my brother, okay? But, every time I would make something, and I would say, okay, here's the draft. And trust me, because I knew it was going to take time, didn't do advance payment. At this time. I've changed since then. But this guy, every single time I would go to him with a draft saying, here's what you asked for, this is where I'm at, what do you think? He then would ask for like 11 to 12 different details to be added in, to the point where it was just analysis paralysis. He was never, ever okay with any drawing I ever made. Now, this is no hate to him. No hate to him. But, hey, Trung, nice to see you. Aren't you supposed to be in bed right now? What the fuck? What are you doing here? But it's a thing where ultimately I had to just like stop responding. I had pretty much wasted my time, way over what he was going to pay me. Because I spent a collective, like looking at the files that I have for this art, I had spent maybe a month total working and revising and revising and revising this one piece when this guy was going to give me $70 for it. $70 for multiple days of work? No, that's not how that should work. My prices are my prices because that's how much effort you're paying for. So the higher the price, the more effort you're going to get out of me. That's generally how I work. So let's continue the video.
No problem. Simply relay these instructions to Stable Diffusion version 12, and they can do all of the work for you. Pascal Blanchet explains that experimenting with image-to-image AIs has allowed him to open new horizons with his art, and he redoubles this exact notion of iteration that I'm describing here. And Stan Prokopenko concurs.
You can take the Proko logo, you can give it a bunch of different colors.
I love Proko. Proko's a great channel if you ever want to learn how to draw, because all of their techniques can immediately translate to pretty much most mediums.
Different variations, and then you can create a prompt template that's like this style with this subject matter. So you just say this is an ocean of fish or some koi, a koi pond.
Uh-huh.
And then you give it a style. It's like Picasso-ish or whatever, or it's like Rockwell. And you create these thousands of
I love
combinations,
Norman
and then
Rockwell.
you just batch it all, and then you get these beautiful images of like the Proko logo.
Concept artist Trent Kaniuga is in the same boat, seeing AI and human art as a symbiotic
There's another wonderful channel, Trent Kaniuga.
relationship. This ability to quickly iterate
Highly
opens
recommended.
up entirely new avenues of creativity that would simply be locked behind time constraints before. An artist can describe the sort of asset that they're looking for, have an AI generate thousands of iterations, and then they can look through it and see if there are any good ideas. Perhaps ideas that the artist never would have come up with sans the AI. AI art is a brilliant tool for opening up new horizons of creativity, even for those who are already able-bodied artists. I mean, just think about it. This is for the artist. Do you really want to be spending 15 hours a day making slight variations to some grass texture to cover up its tiling? Do you want to spend half your time on drafts work that could be done by a computer? Or, instead of that stuff, do you want to focus your time on whichever aspects are most artistically fulfilling? I think the invention of the paint filter is a sufficient answer to these questions. This is not even a pure hypothetical either. Benjamin von Wong, a sculptor, explains how he uses DALL-E to improve his creative process. DALL-E is a wonderful tool for someone like me who cannot draw. Rather than needing to sketch out concepts, I can simply generate them through different prompt phrases. So, instead of
Okay, so this is what I was talking about last night, where depending on if I cannot find a good reference, I will jump into Midjourney and I will generate my own reference. This is what he's talking about right here. He's generating references. He's generating thumbnails pretty much so that he can make exactly what he wants to make. And it does save a lot of time to use Midjourney. Me, I would prefer to try and learn it myself. This is why I don't do it all the time. Actually, I've done it less over time because I'm trying to generate a skill. I'm trying to improve as an artist. I mean, the doodles on stream notwithstanding, but even then with the doodles that you see on my streams, I mean, I would say that there's been a notable improvement since my first video. And that should say something. I'm improving.
spending his time learning and utilizing an entirely
For the
different
love of the
artistic
game.
medium, he's able to specialize into the sculpture work that he clearly prefers. This means, all else being equal, he'll be able to produce more sculptures than otherwise, surely a boon to his career. Aaron Blaze, veteran animator for Disney, mirrors this ideas, pondering whether AI image generation could be used to fill in the shadows and highlights, thus freeing the artist to spend their time elsewhere. We have seen this applied to movies as well. The Champion used AI technology to redub the movie in several different languages, whilst keeping the actor's voice, performance, and mouth movements consistent with the original. This is bringing the art to a
this is
whole
a
new
common
audience,
thing now.
who would have to watch it with either an inferior vocal performance in a language they understand, or in the original, but having to constantly read subtitles. AI is making art more accessible.
What's wrong with that? What's wrong with subs? What's wrong with subs, Liquid Zulu? Maybe I want to get the initial authentic experience, all right? This is why I watch anime in subs. Only when I'm focusing on something else do I watch anime in dubs, all right? But this is really cool because all it's doing is the AI is now just creating different mouse sounds. Liquid Zulu is just lazy. I'm not sure I agree with that. He put a lot of work into this video trying to take down a lot of arguments that the anti-AI art crowd have done. And I think he's done like a 70 to 80% good job overall. Yo, what's up, Dudekiss? Yeah, I'm just finishing it up. So after I finish it up, I'll probably take a couple hours break and then start back up. We'll probably play some Kazan. And then we're going to play Expedition 33 later tonight. Because I really want to start playing that game more so we can actually finish it. Because once it's finished, we can put other games in the Saturday slot. So. But good morning. Yo, is Daddy BMO the new Asmongold? No. No. Not at all. In fact, I'm offended that you would say that. I have more hair than he does. No, that's not true. I don't have more hair than he does. But you don't know. You don't know. Morning. It's like 3 in the afternoon. I woke up. I woke up at 7, and I didn't move until about 10. And then it took me forever to get into the kitchen and make coffee. It's okay, Anthony. It's okay. I would prefer you call me like Asmongold than fucking daddy, alright? I'm not your daddy.
To people and allowing our stories to be truly global in scope. Some in the artistic community scoff at this notion. But some people enjoy those less interesting aspects. So there, they tell us this as if it
Less interesting is incredibly subjective.
in any way negates the point being made. Yes, well done, Susan. I'm glad for you that you enjoy sewing. This does not negate that I do not.
Yeah, Susan, fuck you. Fuck you, Susan. Alright? Susan, if you're hearing this, fuck you. You know who you are. You know what you did.
And would much rather have a machine make clothes for me. If an artist still wants to engage in those aspects,
Stop
of the
giving them
process that
fuel.
can be automated
I can't
alone,
not do
more
it.
Power to them. I have absolutely no issue with them persisting in this activity, but this does not make it wrong or stupid for other people to make a different choice. The level of bullying that AI artists have received for daring to pursue and engage with a new artistic medium is frankly disgusting.
Bullying. Bullying. Bro, it's 1 p.m. in the day, not morning. I know I said evening, but yeah, my brain was somewhere else. Oh, okay. So you're on the Pacific Northwest.
Nash Kim gave permission for people to train an image model on his work and received immediate backlash in the quote tweets. This is fucking ludicrous. I thought the whole point was that AI stole people's work. What exactly is the issue when someone gives permission? Another artist, of his own volition.
There is no issue if someone gives permission. There's absolutely no issue if someone gives permission.
Used AI tools in the creation of some art for a D&D sourcebook. The response to this was not merely that the artwork should be removed from the book, but that the artist himself, who has worked with the company for 9 years, should be forever blacklisted from ever creating art for the company again.
No, that's not because of the AI art itself. It's that the AI art sucked. It was terrible. The most recent D&D sourcebook has fucking awful art in it. It looks like a fucking child made it.
Example of this parasite, they tell us. This sin of using artistic tools to create his own art on his own terms means he must be forever cast out of the profession. Truly, this is what it means for artists to stick together.
Well, this is what bothers me about this argument, because I can accept that AI art is an art form. I can accept that people like it, and because you're judging it subjectively, so there's like, you can't say it's not art. AI art is definitely art, because someone's gonna like it. Someone will view that as art. But importantly, more importantly, I don't think that you're the artist if you are prompting to get a result out of an AI art machine. You might as well just be giving a client your prompts and you're commissioning the artist, which is the machine at that point. So for you to call it your art is where I take issue. This is the one thing that I can't let go. It's really hard for me to let this go.
Having any association whatsoever with AI has become the black mark against someone's name necessary to justify attacking them. All of the talk about ethical training is simply a smokescreen to cover up their total rejection.
This is such a based... I love Pocahontas just for this one. Savages! Barely even human!
Of this technology on protectionist grounds, which is why their attacks against artists are not limited to what would count as bad actors on their premises, but rather are targeted at anyone who dare touch this more efficient technology. This is seen quite clearly in the case of YouTubers automating a task that they themselves would normally do. Premi Remy is apparently not allowed to use AI art in his thumbnails anymore. What exactly is the suggestion here? That YouTubers start commissioning bespoke art to use as a thumbnail for every video they make? What an utter absurdity. It is not an...
No, that's what you have an editor for. It's the only part of Pocahontas I remember. What about painting with all the colors of the wind?
common strategy to frequently swap out different thumbnail and title combinations to perform A/B testing. Should YouTubers be commissioning artists for each combination and paying for the rush job that would be required to get the video out on time? Nobody does this. Nobody runs their channel this way. For the most part, it is the YouTuber himself who is making the thumbnail. No artist on planet Earth lost their job because of this, because no artist was ever going to be hired for such a job. Austin McConnell is producing a book about a virtually unknown public domain superhero on a shoestring budget, befitting the likely very limited revenue such a project could make. This budget was already going towards paying for a co-author, professional editing, proofreading, formatting, and commissioning human artists for the book cover and marketing materials. So, this is clearly not the image of a greedy, evil man attempting to wring every penny out of creation and destroy art in the process. This is a guy who wants to get together with other creatives and bring something cool into the world. McConnell
To make money. There's still the profit mode. Let's not ignore that.
explains that he is, quote, forever dealing with the challenge of converting YouTube viewers to actual readers of my work. So I decided that I would put together the first chapter in an animated storybook style, with the full audio production featuring different voices, music, sound effects, the whole 9 yards, and then release it
I think that's
for
really
free
cool.
for people who are either on the fence about picking up a copy and checking out the whole story, or just looking for something entertaining to spend
Yeah, so you give a freebie so people will pay for your actual work. Yeah, I can vibe with it. I understand.
about an hour watching. The creation of this totally free
I could debate against that. To be honest, prompt engineer is a thing, and having the knowledge to write a prompt is the same as having the knowledge to draw, but we can argue that's an easier thing to do. No, I don't agree. I don't agree that it is the same thing. Mainly, Trung, it's because there's a reason why I make the distinction that it's like you're commissioning a machine to make it. That's exactly what my process is when you commission me. If you commission me, you have given me a prompt, okay? I'll use your last donation as an example. You wanted me to write, you wanted me to do Guido Mista plus Giorno Giovanna from JoJo in a pose. Now, I misunderstood you, so I did Guido Mista in a Giorno pose. But I still spat out from your prompt a drawing based off of your instruction. That is what you're doing when you're putting your prompt into Midjourney. If you were to spend a lot of money and get me to do a full piece for you, it would be like that, but I would be sending you basically drafts. So individual things where it's like, hey, there we go. Self-reporting? What do you mean self-reporting? Well, yeah, I'm technically self-reporting because you told me that I got the prompt wrong, but that's because you wrote it wrong. I'm just saying, you wrote it wrong. But I gave you what my understanding of your prompting was, which is what the AI does. It's what Midjourney does. It's what Stable Diffusion does. It tries to translate your prompt into what that image might represent. You were commissioning that way. So the client is giving a prompt, and then the artist makes the thing based off of their understanding of that prompt. I see it as exactly the same. I do not think a prompt engineer is the same as being an artist. I see them as being a client commissioning someone else.
Animation took Austin about 5 months of painstaking work to promote a book that he was not even expecting to make all that much money. This is clearly a good thing. He's found a way to get the story in front of more people at no extra cost to them. But in the process, he committed the mortal sin of using the labor-saving technology that...
I do want to see this. I want to watch this video. I'm very interested in seeing what the video is about. I really want to try and see if I can pick out, because this image on its own, it doesn't look too bad. I don't see any flaws with the hair. I think that, like, it's good enough.
That is generative AI, thus drawing the ire of the art protectionist egregore.
I think
This
these AI
animation simply
generators should
would
have
not
funnier
been
names.
produced
I
without
agree.
the advent of AI. And it is also far from being on the level of the wine and mega feed slop, which Zapata fears.
This storybook features various animation effects and motion graphics that were not AI generated. They were painstakingly crafted or added by me in a non-linear editor.
I just want to go back for a second. Okay. All right. If anyone here is not an artist, I just want to point something out. When you're making a shading, and you're going to do, like, okay, here's this side of the face that's in lights. It's a 3D object, so, like, of course, this will shrink into the face. That's why you have this thing right here in terms of the shadow. But you see, there's this, like, passing through deeper color right here. Let me just, like, zoom in here so you can see it. This is important to make your shit look so good. This right here important because that's basically specular highlights. It's basically, it's turning red, it's turning more saturated because the light is actually pushing through your skin. It is illuminating your skin to a degree. So that's why you see this red mark. It looks amazing on art. I highly recommend anyone give it a try. Just right where the line intersects between shadow and light, you just saturate the hell out of that. It looks great.
Were painstakingly crafted or added by me in a nonlinear editor. The visuals for the Spider Queen storybook were produced using a variety of resources.
What if the artist uses AI prompts to create the based or enhanced post-production? Post-production I view as something different. When people are making an argument against AI generation, AI art generation, they're not making an argument against post-processing. Because post-processing has been a thing for a very long time. It's very consistent. This is what the industry uses all the time because that technically is AI by the consistency argument of if a calculator leads to spell check and spell check leads to AI art generation. Like the consistency of it's cutting down time. Oh boy, someone was drinking outside the store. Should be a fun shift. Oh boy. You have fun with that, Dudicus.
Courses, including 2D art and character designs I commissioned or drew myself, 2D and 3D assets I purchased from royalty-free stock footage websites, generative fill and neural art filters available in either Photoshop or Adobe Firefly, which is an
The hell is a neural art filter?
AI trained only on stock images owned by the company, public domain content, or other openly licensed or non-copyright material, and a diffusion model trained on the above materials.
And that's the kicker. Austin was in complete compliance with the arbitrary ethical AI standards that have been championed by the art establishment, and they still go after him. You hire a human artist for this? Not enough. You used only public domain and licensed assets? Not enough. You put real blood, sweat, and tears into it? Not enough. Do you see why I call their ethical
That's because you're using an argument from Twitter. No, and you're not going to get a lot of these people. A lot of the time, this is an emotional response. I'll use Anthony as an example. Love you, Anthony. But just because someone has used AI art in a bad way does not make the entire thing bad. So these fringe arguments that you're going to get from people that will just give an emotional response are not a good representation of the thing. It's you're basically making a monster out of it. When I'd say this video has been a very good example of showing that it's not a monster. Say what you will about Liquid Zulu, because he seems like he's pretty smug, bit of an asshole probably, but like I think this has been a relatively good video taking down a lot of arguments about this.
training concerns.
Photoshop AI is real wacky.
They placed it higher, that they don't give a crap about any of that. They only care if it will impact their wallets or sully the sanctity of their craft. The plain Jane Plum line
Sanctity.
truth of the matter is that this AI image generation allowed Austin to push this particular piece of art, this story about a completely forgotten superhero, far beyond what would ever be possible without its use. This is a clear example of AI improving rather than detracting from art and creativity. Artists sticking together is whenever you bully artists for making art, and the more you bully them, the more artists are sticking together. But using AI like this is just lazy. Yes, the classic cry against efficiency. He who transports grain by horse must simply lack legs to walk on. It is as if we are to accept that capital goods simply push man towards a state of lazing about on the beach, just barely survive.
Now he's making this argument, except for he is not okay with IP. He's not okay with IP. He's not okay with you owning things. This is it just bothers me because we saw his IP law video first. So this rings very hollow for me right now.
Surviving and spending the vast majority of his time doing no productive efforts, and only a tiny fraction collecting resources he needs to live. We can, of course, see the obvious absurdity of such an example. As man gains more capital goods, it is indeed true that this allows him more leisure time. But it also allows that time he spends laboring to be vastly more productive than if he was stuck using only his bare hands. That Austin is able to save this time by using digital rather than film, and AI instead of pencil and paper means that he was able to make this animation in the first place, and the making of it was anything but lazy.
Now, can people use AI generators to make lazy art? Sure, absolutely.
Absolutely.
The video that I produced could not have been replicated, as some have suggested, in a couple hours by a computer. It required a heavy and overwhelming human involvement. At the very least,
this is why I think it's actually important to look at the whole of the work. Generally, I think that's what you need to do. And I think it's going to become more important to look at the whole of the work over time. Like, as time goes on, people are going to care less and less about whether AI is being used to create that artwork, dude. Unfortunately. But I don't think it's going to put me out of a job. I don't think it's going to put artists out of a job. Because it should be laudable to say, yeah, I'm a human. Like, I made a comment about the Nintendo seal of approval. There's going to be the no AI seal of approval. Like, it's going to happen. There's going to be a niche that's specifically for people that don't want AI in their work.
to write the actual book, but certainly to create this entire production. This shot here is a great example. We've got a generative fill background that was produced using a royalty-free 3D environment combined with 3D and 2D royalty-free assets using commissioned art with alterations I hand drew, all of it composited together and animated by me in Adobe After Effects, where I added camera movement, color correction, focus effects, timed it to royalty-free music that I have licensed and curated, featuring sound effects from a stock library with reverb and mixing that I did, integrating a vocal performance that I meticulously constructed. If you believe that this method of video production is lazy content, all I can do is just share these screenshots of the final project timeline with you and tell you that this video took way longer to put together than I ever would have anticipated. And if you think that this is something that anybody with an AI program can do, I welcome you to try and replicate it yourself in a couple of hours.
The people making such arguments and crying efficiency are simply anti-human. If they were truly consistent in their credo, they would advocate an apocalypse,
anti-human,
in the capital structure which makes man's current flourishing on this earth possible in the first place, returning man to the cold, damp mud from which he has lifted himself out of. But he still should have hired humans to do the work instead of AI.
Are you saying that he used AI to pull himself up by his bootstraps? Is that what you're saying, Liquid Zulu?
Explains that he tried hiring a female voice actor to voice the female character, holding 3 separate rounds of recruitment for the role, but the quoted rates were far out of budget, and none of the applicants were right for the part. He similarly reached out to freelance artists to see if they would be willing to draw the over 50-minute animation, and was either turned down due to the immense scope of the project, or was quoted prices that would vastly dwarf any returns he could hope to get on the book that this short was supposed to be advertising. This is the fundamental point. This animation simply never would have been made without the advent of AI. Nobody on Earth was going to be able to pay for it, and human artists are not entitled to someone paying for it. We now have more art because of the brilliant work of AI developers.
He is right that human artists are not entitled for someone to pay for their art. That is true. That is true. I don't disagree with that at all.
Shadowversity has been perhaps the most...
That's why art is such a competition-based thing.
So it is not particularly surprising that the mob have turned their attention to him also. He recently posted a challenge.
No. The mob has turned to him because he's a smug asshole. That's a thing. That's the thing, Liquid Zulu. When you say stuff purposely to try and piss people off, of course you're going to get the mob to turn on you. Of course you're going to do that. You are rage baiting. And that's what Shad is now known for. He does so much fucking rage bait. So much. I don't know if any of you guys in chat have seen his comment on the Studio Ghibli filter, where he's like, well, the reason why the Studio Ghibli filter doesn't matter is because Miyazaki's artwork was never good in the first place. Which is such a fucking stupid point. And it's just fucking rage bait. It's just rage bait. How's it going, Dragon Master? Nice to see you.
To prove that AI image generation is not just type prompt, get final image. And he was proven entirely correct. For both of these images, the character looks nothing like Shad's character. The poses are completely different, the swords are completely different, the grip is completely different, and the swords are held flat on the camera.
That's not the point that Gideon's trying to make. He wasn't saying that I can make exactly the same thing. He's saying I can make something of similar quality without the amount of time that you have claimed to have put into it, Shad. That's the argument that Gideon on Gaming right there is making.
which is not the case for Shad's image. Again, it seems that the uncanny eye that the art protectionist has for spotting every minor flaw in an AI image is completely absent whenever it's useful for it to be. But aha, silly Shad, didn't you know that even in this challenge you posted, the hand is obviously not anatomically correct? We win, you lose. This, of course, ignores.
Yeah, it still looks weird though. It still looks really weird and doesn't look like the proper grip, regardless of the reference, which the reference was probably used correctly. Because I know a lot about this, because this is around the time when I was actually able to argue with Shad in his DMs until he stopped responding to me. Yeah, this was an art project he went through where he basically took half drawings that he had made, and then threw them into Midjourney specifically, and just kept prompting and prompting and prompting until it looked great for him. And you gotta say, like, the face looks great. The hands look a little weird. But, like, still, like, this is not the same. This is why so many people are a little disingenuous about this argument, honestly, but we're gonna keep playing the video. I don't know what fucking point I'm trying to make right now.
Ignores the fact that Shad based the grip off of an actual historic grip used, and which he can recreate in person.
Your mom has a historic grip.
Shadiversity recognizes that an artistic weakness of his is in the coloring in of his line drawings. That he has access to AI image-to-image software allows him to overcome this weak point and more fully realize his artistic vision. It takes a special kind of viciousness to wish to rip this ability from him. Nor does any of this imply that Shad is not still capable of immense artistic input. As explained, one of the key aspects to an objectively good piece of art is selectivity, specifically making micro-adjustments to dial in the absolute perfect representation of the metaphysics that you're trying to embody. It would be...
Which is why, again, I don't call you an artist, I call you a commissioner.
Easy enough to copy a prompt, or to type, I want Supergirl who is flying, and then there's a red skirt, and then there's sci-fi armor, but it's far more challenging to know what exactly to change in the prompt, where to input, which settings to tweak, how to tweak them, and to select the best elements to photobash together for the final result. That we have dozens to hundreds of popular tutorials on how to use these tools is surely indicative that there is more to the process than click button, get art, even before Shad does any...
I mean, it literally is that simple, though, of click button, get art, but you're not going to get exactly what you're asking for.
Painting or photo brushing or illustration on the top of the AI art, his prompts are fucking gigantic. Clearly, he is trying to get a superior level of specificity than is possible with a shorter prompt. Carla Ortiz
yes, he's trying to dial in.
Saying that
the more intricate and the more detailed the prompt, the better the image the AI can give you.
Reed Southern counters that this is just Shad not understanding how prompting works, which Shad disputes.
There are parts to the AI generation that we don't understand how it's working, and so the reason why there's so many duplications in the negative prompt is because it affects the results. I've tried differences, and by this repetition, like the results are actually quite extreme.
The artists against AI love to nitpick every last detail in every image that they even suspect of having been touched by the hair on an AI's head, and they have also...
Oh, actually, I would just want to point out that this is a current problem on Twitter, where like someone will post art. Let's say I'll use Superman art as an example. It's a beautiful render, looks great, and you'll have someone who is not an artist, who doesn't understand the fundamentals of art, go in and say, this is definitely AI because I don't like the way that this hair looks, I don't like the way that the hands look. Not proving that it's AI, but more proving that the dude doesn't understand how the art process works. It happens a lot.
So shifted to, I would say, engaging in some less than good faith critiques of Shadiversity's non-AI work. The idea being that he was too lazy to get good and is self-conscious about this, so he used AI to cheat. Well, they rest...
I mean, he probably is self-conscious about it. Otherwise, he would post that and be proud of it.
Their attacks on is this idea that if they can point out every little thing in an AI image that doesn't match up to reality, then AI art is completely worthless and worthy of attack. What this amounts to is a sort of naive aesthetic realism. Oh, that lighting is not as it would be in real life, therefore it's bad. That anatomy is not as it would be in real life, therefore it's bad.
No, that's not the argument that they're making, but that this is a part of art fundamentals. You have to understand how light sources work. You have to understand how things look in 3D space. These are things that are skills that you can learn. They're actually quite easy to learn, just hard to master. Are you telling me there are idiots on Twitter? No, there's no idiots on Twitter.
They of course ignore that art is not a process of capturing every detail in reality in some sort of slice of life. Rather, its purpose is to distill and represent only those aspects of reality that are important. On that note, this...
I think that this is misrepresenting the argument in Shad's whole thing. The stuff that was against him is because he's using a realistic medium. All right, he is trying to make a realistic artistic piece. Okay, that represents, it looks like real life. So then you must follow the tenets of realism as an art medium to judge it. So then you can say, hey, that light source doesn't match up. That looks weird. You can say that. That is a proper critique. So I think this is disingenuous right here.
This exact same nitpicking procedure, which the anti-AI crowd have so gleefully taken part in since the technology's release, can trivially be used against the art that they produce as well. Pablo, that's not very accurate anatomy. Why?
No, because that's a disingenuous argument. It's not the argument that's been being made, Liquid Zulu.
Can trivially be used against the art that they produce as well.
You're not holding this to a realistic standard. You are not holding Plato's art to the same standard as realism, okay? Because it's literally not the same thing. You would have to hold this to the standard of other Platonic art.
Pablo, that's not very accurate anatomy. Why does the baby Jesus look like a tiny bit?
Well, that's because that's just what they looked like back then, right? It's possible that they did look like that back then.
Fully grown man. That's not what things are really like. Does Steven Spata not know how many eyes people have?
Jesus Christ, I hate this argument. I hate this argument.
Weird head much? Of course, I kid with these nitpicks, but I am capable
I hope
of producing
so.
far less nitpicky and far stronger criticism of the type of anti-human art coming out of people like Zapata and Picasso.
But you are saying that you're kidding about those things specifically, but you're also basing part of your argument on it.
So, for Picasso, this anti-perceptual mess is his vision of reality. On such a philosophy, man has no power to know anything, and whenever he tries, he will fall woefully short, perhaps ending up like the guitarist from before. This is an evil view of man, but it is encapsulated with a high degree of aesthetic rigor. Picasso is selective in
I think that guy looks really happy to be there. Look at his face. He looks like he's going, hi!
his choice of a woman. Generally, women are chosen to depict their beauty, but Picasso's job here is to deconstruct. So he deconstructs beauty
Picasso,
itself.
not Plato.
Picasso is clear in what he's doing. He has not blurred the figure, he's rather slashed great lines across it, disintegrating the concept in front of our eyes. Where the piece suffers is on the level of
wood
integration. These precise, distinct shapes are indicative of separate concepts, but the entire pursuit is to destroy concepts and reality. We have a fundamental disintegration between the technique and the reality being depicted by it. We can do the same to Zapata's work. The view of man depicted here is truly gruesome. Looking over his portfolio, rarely are we met with any vision of man as an individual, or man as a conqueror, or man as triumphant. Rather, we get grotesque collectives, mashed together in a seemingly endless torture of every individual present. The individual on such a view does not exist. He is irrelevant, a fragment torn from God, or a cell of the collective body. His suffering is thus similarly irrelevant, for the collective is all that matters. Despite this, Zapata demonstrates an intimate knowledge of the human form, but sees it as deficient. Rather than depicting man as he is, fully functional in every muscle, not a hair out of place, he depicts man as requiring physical modification to properly fit within reality. The idea being presented here is that man's actual body is insufficient to meet his collectivist nature, that he is able to execute these artistic equivalents of the Communist Manifesto with such a high degree of technical ability, betraying a deep connection with it, really makes it such that I can't help but chuckle whenever he claims to be pro-human, especially when composed with his overt protectionism. Reed Sutton has been very outspoken in his opinions on this issue, fighting against the AI slop that threatens him. So, let's take a look at the selected work on the front of his website. We have The Matrix Resurrections, Jupiter Ascending, Transformers The Last Night, The Woman King, The Hunger Games, and Independence.
Oh gosh, The Woman King. Who remembers The Woman King? Art is easy to learn but hard to master if only people understood that more often. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Like, I'm a perfectionist. Like, a lot of the time when I'm doing doodles on here, I have to force myself to compartmentalize the criticisms that I'm holding, like, against myself when I draw. Like, I have to force that because when I draw things, I really have such an issue with that doesn't look like how it looks like in my head. In fact, the first step is the scariest part for people. 100%. 100%. I agree.
Day resurgence. Well, thank goodness that Reed is the stalwart defender of humanity against the potential slop factory that is AI. I just don't know what on earth we would do without the high art that is The Woman King, or the innumerable rehashes of old movies that seem to make up the bulk of his career. Remember, guys.
For those that don't know, The Woman King was basically, it was It was a movie that came out a few years ago. Not a few years ago, like 5 years ago, around that time. And it was basically historical fiction. But it was touted. It was touted as one of the most historically accurate. Like, this is our history. But it basically just painted a light on a tribe of Africans that enslaved a bunch of people and sold them to America. Not America, but to Europe. It was a big problem. And I still have a bunch of buddies that they think that it is basically a historical documentary that is real, when it is not real.
Guys, AI art is bad because it just rehashes what has already happened. Pay no attention to the man behind the criticism. One distinction one might wish to draw between the sort of nitpicking I am doing and that done against AIs is that for the most part, the things I point out were intentionally put there by the artist in question. For the case of Picasso and Zapata, that what they are doing is intentional makes it an even greater damnation, and further, that a decision was intentional does not seem to present any sort of barrier for the anti-AI side. Shadowversity makes it clear that he enjoyed the look of the sun behind Supergirl and wanted to get a good look at her front. So much like how movies will light up every inch of the screen, he wanted to use some unrealistic lighting. You might disagree with his intention.
No. That's not the argument that he was making.
Here, but then we're back to me strongly disagreeing with the type of metaphysics embodied in a work by Zapata or Picasso. No.
They also got their ass handed to them by the French of all people. Dude, the French are dangerous. That's why they need destroyed. Destroy all French. The French are too dangerous to be left alive. No, I'm joking. Of course. Hey, Zax, what's up? How's it going? I'm going through this video by Liquid Zulu in defense of AI art. I had another 7-hour stream. Or actually, more than 7-hour stream. Going through most of this. This is a 2-hour and 31 minute video that we're on the tail end now. We got about 20 minutes left. But this guy has done a pretty good job of breaking down, like, why the anti-AI art crowd is wrongfully going against AI art. He's made some pretty good arguments so far, but I'm not fully with him because he's a smug asshole and possibly British.
Now, is it fair for me to go on such tirades against people's work due to a disagreement over the benefits of AI technology? If not, then the same rule should be applied to the AI nitpickers. Either we all get to nitpick, and actual arguments sink to the background, or none of us do, and we actually discuss the technology without lying about what our eyes see. Everyone knows that both AI and non-AI methods can make for highly appealing images. Until I find an entry that says,
whoa, what did I just... Oh my gosh, I can't believe I just did that again. Let's go back. We had about 20 minutes left, so... Bullying Shadowversity for teaching people how to use AI. I believe this is where it's at.
Not blurred the figure, he's rather slashed great lines across it.
Okay, we're going a little further.
Indicative integration is truly gruesome.
You got startled by the moon again?
Let's
keep going.
The woman can interview was to the screen.
That's okay. Here we go.
Is intentional makes it an even greater damnation, and further, that a decision was intentional does not seem to present any sort of barrier for the anti-AI side. Shadowversity makes it clear that he enjoyed the look of the sun behind Supergirl and wanted to get a good look at her front. So much like how movies will light up every inch of the screen, he wanted to use some unrealistic lighting.
Again, if you are trying to make you even using AI art, okay, if you are trying to make art that follows a specific type of medium, this medium being realism, and you do not have accurate lighting, it is a proper criticism, regardless of your artistic intent. It is a proper criticism, a valid criticism, to say that the lighting is off. This is not a problem. This is not bullying. There is plenty of bullying against Shad. I'd say some of it's deserved. This is deserved critique, and good critique at that.
You might disagree with his intention here, but then we're back to me strongly disagreeing with the type of metaphysics embodied in a work by Zapata or Picasso. Now, is it fair for me to go on such tirades against people's work due to a disagreement over the benefits of AI technology? If not, then the same rule should be applied to the AI nitpickers. Either we all get to nitpick, and actual arguments sink to the background, or none of us do, and we actually
everyone gets
discuss
to
the
nitpick
technology without lying about what our eyes see. Everyone knows that both AI and non-AI methods can make for highly appealing images. All pointing at flaws does is demonstrate Shadowversity to be correct when he says that having an artistic eye implies that one can make better AI art. Corridor Digital, a prominent...
No, I don't disagree with that even. This is why earlier in the stream, and even last stream, I said if you did pick up artistic fundamentals, and then you go and you use AI to make stuff, you can have a trained eye. You can have that skill translate into that. It's not one-to-one the same, but you're still utilizing your skill as a nice tool to supplement this thing.
VFX
I don't have a problem
decided
with
to
that.
experiment with the new creative possibilities which AI
Oh, this
affords.
video is so
Response from
good.
Artists, ceaseless hate and flame. Put those silly VFX artists back in their place, Twitter. How dare they seek to continue the same experimentation they always have.
So there's actually a wonderful video by Scambully Reviews that breaks down the response to this video. I highly recommend it, Scambully Reviews.
Don't they know that AI is now forbidden? So saith art. Zapata's insistence that artists are pro-technology and pro-experimentation community seems completely absent in the response to this. Corridor is absolute cancer. They deserve zero support. The actual people behind this are garbage. It's not even that the
No,
technology
they're not.
is flawed,
They're
so it
wonderful.
could be made in a more ethical way. It's that you are actual garbage or a loser piece of shit hack with no fucking talent for daring to experiment with unapproved technology. Corridor are not real artists anymore. They've committed the sin of experimenting with the wrong
Not real artists. Oh boy, no true Scotsman. No true artist would do this. No true artist would use digital art or draw digitally. No true artist would draw on paper when everyone paints on canvas. No true artist would use canvas because that's just not real artists. Only a real artist would take charcoal and, you know, do a cave drawing, okay? Only a real artist would grab a stick and start, you know, moving it into the sand on a beach. It's such a fucking stupid argument.
tag and now cannot be considered as such. I hope you see now why I see fit to bring up that many of these people rest their arguments on a theory of art which deems that it is art if mystic priests say it is, and only then. Way to support artists and creativity, guys. And I know that the response here is going to be that Corridor started it, that Corridor weren't supporting artists, but this just isn't the case. All of them.
Yeah, they did. 100%. Wonderful video. Highly recommend it. You guys should watch it.
Backlash that I'm showing here is directed at their second anime rock, paper, scissors video, where they follow the calls to support human artists. They're about as explicit as you could possibly be with where they got the style from, and who contributed what to the final product. But of
I may or may not have drawn them fan art of their anime rock, paper, scissors concept.
course, it is never enough for these people. Oh, you hired someone to design the characters and made them fully aware that this was to be used for training an AI? Not enough. Oh, you reached out to the community to get help on editing with bounties on completing scenes? Not enough. Oh, you highlighted and praised the musician who did the theme song?
It was such a
Not
cool
enough.
concept.
There is no rational basis for these attacks. This isn't in response to some
So what pissed people off about this is that they were very open about basically feeding their AI off of Vampire Hunter D. That was the big contention. That was like, oh, they're stealing copyrighted work. No, they actually bought a license to be able to use it.
evil committed by Corridor. The mere fact that they are using technology that the art sages have deemed bad is the beginning and end of the entire thought process. These people are still outraged at Corridor for hiring a human artist to design a shirt for them, because Corridor is now irreparably tainted in their eyes. If the problem truly is with not getting artist consent and not supporting artists, then people should be praising Corridor for finding a way to do both. What Corridor have done with this video strikes me as being essentially identical to what has been done by people like Joel Haver, or even in movies like A Scanner Darkly. Joel doesn't animate every single frame. He draws a few keyframes and has a computer fill in the rest. Whereas the hashtag cancel Joel Haver movement, where all of the people dunking on him with, actually Joel, this is roast
Because it doesn't look good. That's why.
scoping, not animation. I certainly can't see it. Aaron Blaze has quite a different take on the Corridor video than a lot
Oh, this guy's fucking cool. Highly recommend this
of
guy.
light hordes, stating
He was a Lion King animator.
that it's not too different than what we did on Beauty and the Beast. It's the same
Yep.
idea. He tells us that the much bemoaned flickering present in the first short, quote, adds life to the final image. He explains that AI-generated art is no different from what has been done before, and gives
Come on,
kudos to
Zulu,
Corridor
drop
for
the
their
link.
experimentation. A great deal of the backlash completely misses the point with these videos. Well done. You found a frame where the hand looks messed up. Get yourself a cookie. The purpose of the video was not to show how to make an anime. It was not to demonstrate the process that a human animator goes through. This is a visual effects channel. They were testing out a new visual effects technique and showing people where it shines and where it doesn't. Either these people are being deliberately dense such that they may join in on the pile-on, or their mind consists only of recycled ideas that they can't quite grasp how to properly apply. Oh, you slipped the point there, Zulu. Corridor are a VFX studio. They only don't care about this because it's not threatening their jobs. Just you watch the second AI starts making VFX
That face still gets me. Look at that face. It does look a little messed up, but like for the effect that they're trying to do, it's great.
they will change their opinion on a dime. Now, I might accept this accusation, if not for the fact that Corridor has a 20-minute long video on the channel geeking out and getting super excited over a new AI technology that can replace the job of an AI artist in making a CG character. Like, a very significant portion of the Corridor channel is dedicated to showing off experimental labor-saving techniques that, by the logic of the anti-AI crowd, will put them at risk of losing their jobs. This is the difference between Corridor and the protectionists. The people at Corridor need to constantly innovate. They aren't able to rest on the artistic laws of everything is art, everything is subjective, that were established in the wake of Kant. Corridor
Again, highly recommend Corridor Digital and Corridor Crew, their second channel where they break down all this shit. Fantastic creators. I love watching their videos.
are on the bleeding edge of an industry that rarely receives any sort of respect. They cannot fall back on pompous "you wouldn't get it." The work of the VFX artist must be impeccable if he is to sustain himself. No government grants are available for his gallery of work. The backlash against Corridor here does not lie within a few isolated examples either. This is the expected result whenever anyone is met with the raging eye of art Twitter for committing whichever sin they've decided upon.
Oh, that fucking face. Every freeze frame looks like a fucking curse, but I love the video.
This month. For all the cries from the anti-AI crowd that we be more empathetic towards artists, I find a complete lack of empathy whenever it comes to someone using the technology that they despise, even when done in compliance with their arbitrary ethical standards. If you want people to honestly believe that your community is all about sticking together and supporting the human behind the screen, then call this shit out. There is no significant counterweight to this shitstorm coming from within the art community. Now, I will give credit where it is due. Some artists have recognized the problem, as shown in
Hey, there's Sam Does Arts.
There's a complete lack of empathy that's just like, it's just sad to see, you know. It's like, oh yeah, you fucking artist, or like, oh yeah, you
exactly.
The loss is gonna kill this AI shit. It's like, I don't know, man.
On both sides, like
yeah.
on both sides. For the people who use AI, on their side, it's like, oh, well, you guys are just whining, you're just crying about it, suck it up and just deal with it. So you don't understand, like, this has been people's livelihoods and their careers for so many years. This has been their passion.
Sure.
This is something that they care about. And then on the artist side, you know, artists are like, oh, this is like, we need to snuff this thing out. We need to kill this AI thing. This shouldn't even exist. It's like,
whoops.
Okay, well, you're not looking at the benefits that it could bring to millions of people in the future. Yeah. I think,
or even just production, dude. Like, if you're
what is he saying, that there's nuance to this fucking subject? Oh my god. Oh my god. Nuance isn't allowed.
Or someone
off to the
works
gulag
the
with you.
team. I know it sounds horrible to say, like, I don't need to hire that many artists anymore. But on the other side, though, it's just like, it's so expensive, especially if you're not like a big studio or a big director.
Yeah,
where you
it
don't
is
have,
expensive.
Like, millions of dollars of budget. You just want to, like, I want to make my short film. I don't want to pay. I don't have like. Even
there's
like
no ants in this argument.
Let alone $2,000, like few $1,000s. I don't have like 20, 30.
Oh, no aunts. Oh, I got you.
An artist to make like a bunch of backgrounds for my film. That's not gonna even make money because I'm not popular enough, you know?
Now, I am not an AI artist or a regular artist, and quite frankly, I don't give much of a damn if people are mean to others online. What I do care about is intellectual consistency. If artists want to be mean and throw shit at people for doing things they don't like, then they can't claim some moral high ground in advocating that people stick together and have empathy for one another, and they also need to back up said shit throwing with some decent arguments. It is clear that for the vast majority of those upset over AI, the use of such technology makes one persona non grata, not out of any actual immoral deed, but rather because the high priests of art deem it to be so. The anti-AI crowd have a few examples up their sleeves of the AI artists engaging in unethical practices, which I would be remiss if I did not cover here. Perhaps the most prominent example is that of a person training an AI to make art similar to Kim Jong-gi shortly after his death. Now, the argument was seemingly that this was in some form spitting on his grave. Now, I can't imagine why it is that his death is at all relevant to the ethical calculus.
Okay, so there's a reason for that. All right, I'll get into that. I bet you're going to bring it up. But okay, Kim Jong-gi. Okay, this guy, fantastic freehand artist. He is a freaking legend. Okay, being able to just draw super intricate scenes, almost to an autistic level of detail. He had such a problem with AI. He thought that AI was a disgusting thing. He even thought digital art was a disgusting thing. He took a very harsh stance on these things. So then, to die, he dies, and someone immediately takes his art style, feeds an AI and then starts spitting out works that are inspired by his art is disrespectful. It's pissing on his grave. Of course it's disrespectful. Now, is that an argument to throw the entire thing out? No. But to say that it's not relevant, no, I think it is relevant. Because I'm explaining exactly how and why people had the reaction they did. I bet you he's going to make an argument. Now, granted, I have not seen the end of this video, so I'm betting he's going to make the argument that we use art styles inspired from dead people all the time. Okay? When that's not the point. That's not the reason why people were mad about this.
Is spitting on a grave worse than spitting on the living man? Only if death is more sacred than life. If we are to accept death worship and life hatred, then yes, this is a sound argument. Kim Jong-il has escaped the clutches of life. We should not use his work to better the living. He should die with honor. This is the basic argument being made here. Now, these
No, it's not.
types of hyper-specific AIs do perhaps have a slightly different ethical calculus involved. If I'm training an AI specifically to attempt to mimic a particular artist, I would call that second-hand.
Man cannot live consistently on second-handedness, and it is certainly aesthetically poor to have such borrowed art.
However, if one uses the Kim Jong-il AI, or any other similar AI, to incorporate different aspects of the style into a new works, this is fine. For instance, if you just wanted to know how comic book style in general is done,
If you're inspired by him and you use that as an inspiration, sure. But that's not what this guy did. He's trained a model to draw in a specific style of Kim Jong-il, all right? No arrow this time. Indeed. Indeed. He has a job and shit. This is not the same. I don't view this as the same. I think that Liquid Zulu right now is basically, he's lifted up a straw man, said, this is the argument as to why people don't like this, but has yet to explain the actual nuance of the subject. He's just using this as a straw man to beat up because it makes him feel good.
such that it can be replicated through image to image, because the art you're doing should be in comic book style, then this is not inherently second-hand. Now, there is a living example, namely the various lures made to imitate the style of Sam Yang. So at least here we don't necessarily have any...
Oh, he actually is bringing it up. Okay, because Sam Does Arts, Sam Yang, had some, and currently has an issue. I spoke up about this last stream, but also hello, peepers. There are people that every single time Sam Does Arts posts an art piece, because he's a fantastic artist, a wonderful style, okay, beautiful artist. There are people that specifically train AI models off of his art to spite him. It is specifically done out of spite. It's just to piss him off, because he has said, please don't do that. Please don't do that. And they were doing it, well, fuck you, I can do what I want. Sure, you can do what you want, but you're being a fucking asshole. Hi, how are you, BMO? I am doing all right. The coffee has finally kicked in.
Sort of death worship on the part of the anti-AI crowd. But do you want to know why it is that the AI community, seemingly out of nowhere, decided to start targeting Sam with all of these lures? The reason is, and this is something that goes almost completely unsaid, Sam is the one who drew first blood. That's right. Sam wasn't just going about his day when all of a sudden the Stable Diffusion subreddit decided that they all wanted lures of his style. Rather, what happened is that one guy decided to integrate Sam's style into his generations and released a lure for others to do the same.
Wow, Liquid Zulu, you're a fucking idiot. Hold on. Wait a second. You just said that Sam drew first blood, but then you go and say that someone on Reddit decided to make a lore of his art. Okay? So who drew first blood? Who drew first blood, Liquid Zulu?
In response,
Jesus
Sam called the user out to his 2 million Instagram followers, who then proceeded to bully the person off of the internet. Then, as a retaliation, others banded together in a protest of these moves by making more lures of Sam's work. This very much strikes me as a sort of Streisand effect. Oh, you don't want this to happen?
Yes, it is a Streisand effect. Does that make it okay? No.
Happen and are going to harass people into submission for using their own property how they wish? Fuck you. I won't take it. Here are several dozen more lures with way more popularity. We are told that AI-generated images lack that human touch, that they can be spotted a mile away as mere computer imitations, that even a drawing of a child destroys anything that an AI could make.
No, AI sucks, real artists be
No, AI sucks, real artists better.
Unfiltered childlike soul. Dismogs all the étrange postine fraise.
No, No, I don't agree with this 4chan post.
But this is genuinely full of soul. What mochrat?
Psych! That's the wrong number!
Absolute fucking sister.
I remember when this was coming out that this was an AI creation. Yeah, you just look at the hands, all right? You say it was made by a child? Okay, makes sense.
It's Gotham.
The more honest artists against AI will freely concede the
I love this image, by the way. This image looks fucking cool.
point that images generated by AI can indeed look very impressive. AI is capable of executing techniques that either did not exist
I don't like that one as
or
much.
certainly not widely known.
But I like the reflections on the water. It looks pretty neat.
The image-to-image technique allows
This
artists
one
to
especially.
superimpose patterns that can be naturally filled in, creating a very unique effect. Can you honestly tell me that you saw such things as working QR codes integrated into a piece of art prior to the invention of these image-to-image systems? It is certainly
Yes.
possible for a human to do this on his
Yes,
own,
I can.
and perhaps it was done here and there, but the pure speed and ease with which everyone is capable of experimenting with such techniques now dwarfs anything that came before, insofar as AI image generation is capable
This one hurts my eyes.
of producing works of a higher quality than the human alternative. It is not only anti-human, but also anti-art to oppose this. I do not doubt that just as photography inspired the Impressionist movement, human artists will learn from and build upon these new aesthetic tools. When you have
Sure.
people being silenced for making art that is too
Oh my gosh. Okay. There's a funny story about this right here. So this is real art. This right here. This is a real artist that made this art. And they got banned off of r/art for using AI. So they posted their process. That got them permanently banned. Every single time that this artist, who does not speak English, by the way, this is actually what AI image generator was made for, not safe for work images. I'd say that it was built for both of those. So this person tried to reach out and say like, hey, this is my process. No AI was used in this. And the Redditor was like, no, you're stupid. Don't lie to us. Even though posted proof, posted a video proving the process. Like, it was really fucking stupid. Bimo is AI like Neurosama? No, I'm just retarded. I'm just retarded.
similar for something that an AI might make, it becomes clear that whatever honest concerns about AI image generation there are have been quickly swamped up and swallowed in a total assault on undesirable artists. The time it is taking for the anti-AI Stasi to evaluate whether your art is acceptable
The
is quickly
Stasi.
growing with every new iteration of these models. But in the words of Angela,
If you can't tell, does it matter?
the cries from these artists to band together against AI ring particularly hollow.
Yes,
when
it
mere
does.
months ago, the mob of Twitter artists sought to ostracize and
Reddit and Twitter are the worst social media. I don't know. I'm fine with either of them. Reddit has some usefulness, but the thing is that I don't engage with Reddit's communities at all. And Twitter, I think Twitter is a good sounding board. Blue Sky is a piece of shit because you really can't say anything without being fucking banned. But I mean, that's how I feel about it.
bully anyone.
Oh, NFTs. The idea of NFTs are great. The idea.
Who dared to monetize their work through the use of NFTs. It is rich to hear these people complaining about how a computer program learned to make art off their backs immediately after the almost universal prevalence of the haha, I just right-click saved your NFT, dumbass. Let's even consider the Artists Against AI proposal that image models compensate artists when their art is used.
Twitter now is what Reddit was back in 2016. I don't necessarily agree.
Putting aside the nonsense claims that individual
But it's
pieces
still
of
a
art are
cesspool.
used to generate the images, as if it was photo bashing or collage, what these artists are asking for is for there to be a way to prove that they made a piece of art that is used for further AI generations. Tell me, how is this at all dissimilar to what NFTs are? An NFT is a cryptographic token that allows you to prove that you produce some arbitrary data, such as an image or video. The ethical AI model that they champion is built on the backs of NFT technology that they so
Yeah, it's a
dearly
digital
hate.
signature.
The anti-AI art crowd will laugh and jeer at the fact that AI-generated comic book art was unable to be
Zendaya of the
copyrighted by
Dawn.
author. I celebrate this fact. All of these new and exciting creative tools could be left completely unmarred by the evil clutches of intellectual monopolies. The artists implicitly
Oh
understand
my
this.
lord. No. No, Liquid Zulu. Shut your fucking mouth. That video on fucking IP law either needs a new refresh or like you need to fucking change your stance because it's not good. Think does Poppy Bimo ever agree with us on anything? No.
The very popular task of creating fan art of different characters is a blatant violation of supposed intellectual property rights held by those companies who control those characters. You aren't going to see any big budget
Okay,
movies,
actually,
including
funny thing brought up, okay, because law-wise fan art does fall into a legal gray area. The reason why it's never not really like pushed against, you're never actually told to delete something like that, is one, you're not claiming for the thing to be yours. The artwork is yours, sure, but you're not claiming to own the IP. You're just drawing for the IP. That's it. So there's not really an issue.
A fan art character of Iron Man, they would be sued into oblivion. Stop the double standard. Either you accept fan art and reject IP, or you reject fan art and accept IP. If you
No, false equivalency, you fucking idiot.
want to make the legalistic arguments against AI that it infringes copyright, then I expect to see you in the trenches fighting against the massive copyright infringement coming from the fan art community. Rebecca Blake of the
No, because that's a false equivalency. There's no IP violation happening at that time. The very argument that you made in your other video, Liquid Zulu, is that you think that you cannot have intellectual property because these thoughts aren't scarce, when that's not what IP is. IP defends the specific product that's made off of that thought. It does not defend the thought itself. Anyone can have that thought. It's not the same. It's not copyright infringement to draw fan art. It is a gray area when you're making money off of it, though. That's where the gray area is.
The Graphic Artists Guild tells us that Da Vinci's heir shouldn't be compensated for productions of the Mona Lisa because he died more than 70 years ago.
Christina Wallen would have probably used AI. It would probably be the sickest shit we've ever seen. Probably.
This is so blatantly an arbitrary standard. The beginning and end of our ethical argument on any
Christian.
topic is government said
I don't think
good,
I've heard of
so
them.
good, or government said bad, so bad. I would expect a more sophisticated moral philosophy from a 3-year-old. At least they can implicitly recognize that other kids snatching their toys is wrong, no matter what the grown-ups say about sharing. Just as the open source software community is able to create wonderful applications that a user is free to change to suit his purposes, we may be entering a golden age of free and open source artworks, where budding creatives can build upon the prior body of knowledge without fear that Disney or Nintendo will strike them down with the hammer of Uncle Sam. Small artists already act as if they don't have IP. They watermark their work or send low-resolution versions until they get paid for their commissions. I am yet to see Disney watermark any Marvel movies. IP helps only the large, established monopolists, and does nothing but hurt the creativity of the...
You don't need to watermark those, even though they do. He's lying right here. They do. Any official images that you see, let's see, from a Marvel movie, you can actually see in the bottom corner. That is the watermark. There's the copyright. It does exist. He is not being honest here.
Those small, independent artists who champion its expansion. The pro-IP artist wants it both ways. IP for me, but not for thee, as Lois Van Barl demonstrates.
You know, like how Olivia Rodrigo had that song, and then she had to like credit Paramore as songwriter because it vaguely resembled a song by Paramore. And I remember listening to it and being like, it's not the same song. Yeah. It's like the song. Yeah. If I could, as an artist,
Paramore.
sue people whose work vaguely resembles mine, girl, you would have like field day.
Yes, Anthony, I do think that that's going to happen.
That would be like not only like a lot of people, but that would be cruel because that would limit people's creativity enormously, and also my own, because a lot of my work is deeply inspired by the work of other artists. So it's really
all arts is inspired by the work of other artists. That's not the same.
Interesting how that works. Like in art, it's quite broad. You are allowed to mimic styles. And I think as a human, humans are allowed to mimic styles. Let's make a distinction between humans and robots.
So Lois recognizes that IP is a force that is destructive of creativity, that preventing people from using the stylistic choices of others hinders the creation of art. Then she wishes that these same forces be applied over more arts than they currently apply to. Which is it? Is IP good or bad? You can't eat your cake and have it too. You must decide whether you want to prevent the use of similar artistic motifs and thereby attack the ability of artists to create, or allow this and thereby allow people to train AIs to do this task. There is a naked inconsistency in Lois's view here. She recognizes what she is advocating against actually places her on the side of the AI image generators, and decides that she would just arbitrarily particularize her argument. It very much strikes me that she was making this argument, which has been made by artists for years, and she catches herself, realizing that she forgot to download.
Did we switch back to the other video? No, but he's using the same argument.
To demolish the plagiarism point. She must elucidate some relevant distinction between AI image generation and human artistry from which she derives her distinct ethics. Else,
there's a difference because a human's making it instead of a machine. Human supremacy, let's go.
She is left with an irreconcilable contradiction in her view. We on the pro-AI side are often labeled as bootlickers for big corpo. This is all whilst the anti-AI side are the ones who wish to expand IP, helping some of the most
Okay. Alright, I'm just gonna put it out of there. Alright? This is not a real stone toss meme, but I just want to point out that just because the people that are not okay with AI, like AI art image generation, are also on the same side as Disney and the other big corpos does not mean that they have a bad argument. Hey, IJP, how's it going? Obama soda. There you go. Put that in Mid-Journey and fucking generate something.
Powerful corporations on Earth. You can't rightly class yourselves as the underdogs fighting against the big and powerful, whilst championing for an expansion in the reach of the ever-powerful tentacles of the mouse. You should be able to see how this applies to the commonly cited gotcha against Stable Diffusion, that they
I can't believe he's wearing copywritten material on his shirt. What the fuck?
deliberately avoided any copyrighted material in their music generation AI because they were afraid of litigation. All this shows is that the music industry is more fully strangled and devoid of innovation. That the visual artists wish to follow their steps is very worrying. The truth is that, as Lois correctly pointed out, the many abuses and evils we see in creative endeavors are caused by government intervention in the form of enforcing
Well, Spanish
intellectual
shirt,
monopoly
indeed.
rights. And this makes it especially concerning that so many artists are calling for a government solution to this government problem. To learn more
Government.
about this, you have to watch this video, where I explain that copyrights and patents are a
No, fuck that video. You're fucking, no. Liquid Zulu. All right, you had me until the last half. You had me until the last half when you started bringing up your shitty IP argument. Okay? All right. My overall rating for this video. Okay? This video and his last video right here. Why artists shouldn't own their own art. First of all, this doesn't have much to do with artists in general, but it follows his idea of IP. Okay, I gotta go. I can't stand hearing people talk about AI art anymore. Well, we're just about to finish. But yeah, this dude, I'm a little pressed. I would give his defense of AI art, yeah, 7 out of 10. I think he's taken down a lot of the most basic arguments. And I generally agree with some of his stances. Or even straight up agree with some of his stances on it. But when you start getting into this last part, you lost me, dude. You lost me. But if you want to interact with him, he seems like he interacts with plenty of folks. If you want to go bug him, go bug him. Liquid Zulu on YouTube. Even subscribe to him. He's got some interesting videos. What introduced me to Liquid Zulu was actually, it was this one, Why Socialism is Literally Impossible. That's why he showed up. But yeah. Either way. That's over. Oh, he's got members only videos now. Aw. Neat. Either way. Go support him if you're interested in that. Okay, so now I gotta figure out if I'm gonna keep streaming or if I'm gonna wait until Saturday. Well, my usual time for Saturday. I'm thinking I kind of want to play First Berserker Kazan, but I'm definitely going to take a little bit of a break here. I'm going to go use the restroom, maybe grab some food. So, let's see. It's 2:40 right now. It's 2:40 right now. I think I can confidently say we will wait till Saturday and we're here. I think I am going to start back up at 3:30. We'll play some Kazan. We'll get some stuff done. You know, we'll have some fun. What do you guys think about that? You guys gonna stick around for that? Either way, I definitely am famished. Sounds good. Well, Trung, you're probably going to be asleep. So back at 5. So it's 2:41 p.m. right now. So it's almost 3 o'clock. 3:30. 3:30 is when I'm starting back up. Okay? All right. So I'll see you guys in about 45 minutes. All right? Alrighty. You guys take it easy. See you in a little bit, alright? Oh, and by the way...
Hi, I'm a female. Give me money.
I gotta get some more clips. Either way, I'm going to end the stream now, and I'm going to start up a new stream at 3:30. See you guys later.